So we go into our next topic, land use planning for floods, and our speaker is from the Quezon City Engineering Department, our very own city engineer, Attorney Mark Dale Diamond Peral. He supervises the planning, implementation, and management of the city's infrastructure programs and is also a co-chair of the Infrastructure Committee. Attorney Peral has spearheaded key modernization initiatives for Quezon City, namely the infrastructure project management system and the Quezon City Road and Drainage Fix digital platforms designed to streamline project delivery and infrastructure maintenance. So in line also with the city government's open governance initiatives, he's leading the development of the QC Open Infra, a public transparency dashboard. This platform provides up-to-date information on all city infrastructure projects from 2019 towards reinforcing transparency, accountability, and meaningful citizen engagement. Attorney Peral had held several key positions within the city government, being a city building official, head of the zoning administration unit, and also head of the Quezon Memorial Circle Administration Office. He has also in the past served as commission on at the Commission on Audit under the Technical Services Office, where he headed the administrative section of the Office of the Director. So, beyond government service, Attorney Peral is also engaged in professional and technical organizations, previously serving as the National Treasurer of the Philippine Institute of Civil Engineers and as president of its Quezon City chapter. So, to discuss the Quezon City Drainage Master Plan and Land Use Planning for Floods, please help me welcome Attorney Engineer Mark Dale Diamond Peral. Palakpakan po natin siya.
Good morning, Marion. Thank you very much for that introduction. Maraming salamat. To our very own city planning head, Doc Jed Gomez, sir, to my fellow resource persons, facilitators, and participants of this webinar. Thank you very much for allowing me to share with you some of our efforts in the Quezon City government. So I'll be discussing planning for flood control and waterways, the Quezon City Drainage Master Plan. So the highlights of the presentation are as follows. Am I clear? Sorry, yeah. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, all right. So the highlights are as follows. The Quezon City Drainage Master Plan, the flood mitigation project, and our accomplishment since 2019. All right, next. So the Quezon City Drainage Master Plan has been developed through the joint efforts of several departments of the Quezon City government, not only the Department of Engineering, but also the QCDRRMO, the Disaster Risk Reduction Management Office, and of course, led by the Office of the City Administrator. Aside from the Quezon City government departments and offices, this initiative has been developed through the help of the UP Resilience Institute or the project or the NOAA Center. And it began in 2021 and was completed in 2023. So if while it was completed in 2023, then this study naman po is continuous, and we are trying to update our data currently. Next. So the Quezon City Drainage Master Plan serves as a long-term framework for flood management, and we hope to address the issues brought about by flooding. It's to provide solutions to the flooding and inundation problems of the city. Now, basically, it's not only about infrastructure and engineering. It also includes social preparation, disaster risk reduction management, and other aspects as well. So the Quezon City Drainage Master Plan serves as design and technical provides for this design and technical specifications guide. Um, it does not really specify or list infrastructure projects, but rather it's a collection of technical data that will aid us in performing our planning and design of the building of the projects. So basically, it is a collective effort on the part of government and of course UP and the private institutions to gather technical data and all necessary data for the implementation of several projects. Again, it's not a list of infrastructure projects. So the drainage master plans, for me, the most important output aside from the 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 narratives in the report is the flood hazard map. So the flood hazard map is a result of hydraulic simulation, hydraulic and hydrologic simulations. Uh, as we can see here, the hatched areas in the map means that these are the possible flooded areas based on hydraulic and hydrologic analysis. And as we can see the legend on the bottom right of the screen, there is a legend for the flood depth. So for the 5-year rain return period, the flood depth ranges from 5 meters, from 0 to 5 meters or greater than 5 meters. So as we can see also in this slide, there are important data provided. First, there is an UP Resilience Institute and from Pag-asa. So based on the simulation of the 5-year return period, there might be 33.9 million cubic meters of rainwater. So if we will compare that with the rainwater conveyance capacity, so what are these? These are the drainage systems, the rivers, creeks, and other waterways. And for us in Quezon City, this also includes infrastructure facilities such as detention basins and retention ponds. So the total so far is around almost 8 million cubic meters. So by just seeing these two numbers, we can immediately conclude actually flood in Quezon City to the amount of 26 million cubic meters. So that is how big or how huge the volume of floodwater we are expecting. So we hope we do not experience. Next. So the root causes of flooding are as follows. First, proximity to waterways. Now, as we saw the Quezon City flood map earlier, we can say that this proximity to waterways pertains to rivers, creeks, and streams. It does not include sea or ocean. So the overflow comes actually from the waterway. For number two, the low-lying areas due to natural topography. As we will see later, it appears that the natural topography of Quezon City is that the higher estates or higher elevations are located northern part of the city, and the lower elevations are on the southern side. So the third root cause would be obstruction and narrowing of waterways. These are Well, includes informal settlements, garbage, solid waste, etc., and construction debris, actually. And the fourth will be the ineffective drainage structure. So again, it's not only one single root cause based on the drainage master plan, though. There are several. So the first one is proximity to waterways. So we have an example here. So it's situated in District 5 for those who reside in the Fairview area or Novaliches area. So this is along Nitang Avenue, Barangay Gulod, District 5. So as we can see here, while District 5 is generally on a higher elevation, still Gulod is flood prone. Why? Because it is Nitang Avenue is situated adjacent to a river, which is Tulyahan River. Another example will be for low-lying areas would be, of course, the very famous, should I say, flooded area will be G. Araneta Avenue in Barangay Tatalon, in District 4. So if we will, if as we can see in the flood map, the area is really flood prone. Perhaps because, not only because of its proximity to the San Juan River, but because it is naturally low-lying. So, sorry. Back. So the picture was taken last August 30, 2025 during a thunderstorm. So another example is one of the areas in Barangay Santo Domingo, which is NS Amoranto. So NS Amoranto is located in District 1 of Quezon City. It's just across Barangay Tatalon, which is the area earlier. The Quezon Avenue divides District 1 and District 4. So in this area, so we can see the area is the upstream of Matalahib Creek, which is the outfall to San Juan River for those for runoff coming from District 1. Actually, it coming from EDSA, Balintawak, going to District 1, Araneta Avenue, then going to San Juan River. So here, there is another problem. While it is true that the area is low-lying, and second, it is adjacent to a waterway, G. Araneta Creek, Matalahib Creek, there is also another root cause, which is an obstruction or narrowing of waterways. In this case, the obstruction is no less than a project by the Department of Public Works and Highways. So there is a pump station built on the creek itself. So that is called the Matalahib Creek Pump Station. So we already issued our objection to this project simply because it is an obstruction to the waterways and it actually aggravated the flooding in the area. So in this particular situation, while I will be discussing some of the efforts that we already did and we are doing, for this particular area, what we immediately constructed was a detention basin along Banawe Street or Banawe Avenue. So we constructed a detention basin there just to somehow provide space for the waters that were constricted by or for the waters that were limited by the obstruction of the Matalahib Creek. So it was it is not a permanent solution, but somehow it helped the decrease in the volume of flooding in NS Amoranto, hoping that the flooding will not go to Banawe Avenue. So the fourth root cause will be ineffective drainage structures. So one example is the a road. Actually, it's a private road in a private subdivision, Philam Homes in District 1, Barangay Philam. So what happens here? So Barangay Philam actually is a flood-prone area, not because it is adjacent immediately to a waterway or river or creek or stream. It is, as you can see in the map on your lower left, it is flood-prone because of its natural topography. So the subdivision itself, the elevation of the subdivision itself is lower than West Avenue. So what was the solution to this problem? So since we cannot do infrastructure project inside the subdivision, we studied the drainage system of West Avenue. So in this situation, we found out that the drainage system along West Avenue is situated just right after the almost on the elevation of the road, or the curb and gutter. So basically, the elevation of the drainage system of West Avenue, which is the outfall supposed to be of the drainage system of Philam, is actually higher. That's why this the runoff from the Philam subdivision or Philam Homes is not able to immediately discharge to the outfall of West Avenue simply because the elevation of the drainage is higher than the elevation of the road. So we have several conditions like that. That is why the drainage master plan is very helpful for us in order to understand the nature of the drainage system and runoff of the city. So in this particular cause or instance, although I will still be explaining it later, what we did was to reinvent or to recalibrate the drainage system along West Avenue, and we followed the principle of sewer line design, whereby the elevation of the pipe depends not on the elevation of the road, but rather the elevation of the outfall and the source of water. So these are the project recommendations under structural category that we are doing and we've done so far. So first is the drainage rehabilitation, system rehabilitation, construction and upgrading of drainage system with updated DPWH standards. This is the picture here. It was actually the project site of the West Avenue drainage system. As you can see, the elevation of the pipe, of the concrete pipe, is deep, not the usual drainage depth as we observe usually. So this pipe, the depth of the pipe is around 6 meters and up to, I think, 10 meters deep. So this is one of the reasons. This is for me, one of the benefits of having the drainage master plan, because we are able to technically decide on how this drainage system will be properly designed. So after the completion of the project along West Avenue, so we are very happy because the flooding in Philam Homes was significantly reduced. And well, there are instances of flooding still, but it's not anymore that deep compared before we commence the rehabilitation of the West Avenue drainage system. So second will be the stormwater detention basin. So as we know, the technical people who are participating today, stormwater detention basin is an infrastructure solution that temporarily detains water runoff or rainfall or imminent flooding water. It temporarily detains it in a storage, a water tank, so that it will not be it will not run above the road. Um, these are strategically located based on the drainage, the flood hazard map. Usually, we construct this beside the waterways. The third is retention pond. So as you know also, retention pond is similar to detention basin. The difference is that you can see actually the water in the detention pond. So it appears to be, it looks like a pond or a body of water when in fact it has a storage tank underneath, water tank underneath. This particular picture, the third under retention ponds, is actually our ongoing project in Quezon Memorial Circle. We changed the nature of the park from its old concrete structure park to more of greenery and green area. We improved the green spaces of the park, and we included this flood mitigation infrastructure, which is retention pond with water collecting tank. Interestingly, in this project, the water collected by the retention ponds through runoff will also be used for irrigation of the plants on the park, and also for the water closets of the comfort rooms in the park. So the fourth structural remedy that we are doing is the silting of critical waterways. So as you can see, the fourth picture, if you're able to observe that equipment, the truck, the sewer jet, those sewer jets are owned by the Quezon City government, and we do regular desilting and declogging of existing drainage system in order for us to maximize the detention capacity of the drainage system. Now we move to flood mitigation project planning and design. So we have one area here. Again, it's located in District 1, Barangay Santo Domingo. This is Maria Clara Street. The case study of the actual site condition of at Maria Clara Street, Barangay Santo Domingo, District 1. So as based on the pictures and as observed, perhaps some of you observed and experienced the flooding in the area. More or less, the flood there is around knee deep, but in some instances, it can actually reach up to more than or at least 2 meters of height. So basically, this area is problematic in terms of flooding, and we know that it's a flood-prone area. And if we if we will, as we can see in the drainage master plan flood hazard map, the expected flood volume in this area would be around 5 meters deep. The color blue, we just did not include the there. It's more than 5 meters at the top right of your screen. So this is how this is the magnitude or the level of difficulty or flood problem that we're dealing with in this place, in this area. But nonetheless, we are trying our best to do scientific research and engineering solutions in order to mitigate the same. So what is our proposed solution? Having the primary considerations of the area, these are some of the things that we need to to study. First is the flood volume. Second will be the road condition. Third would be the drainage alignment. And of course, what I think the most important of all will be the social legal constraints. This particular area is why are we highlighting on the road itself? We are highlighting on the road simply because we want to do our solutions the soonest possible time, the fastest. And we think, legally speaking, the fastest way to construct a space for these flood waters will be government properties. And obviously, a government property on a flood prone area primarily will be roads, national and national roads, city roads, barangay roads. For as long as it is public, we can work on it as soon as possible. So So these are the data for us for the specific area. So we have actual flooding of around 2 meters deep, estimated volume of 1,536 cubic meters. So even the flood volume is being recorded by the team regularly. However, based on the drainage master plan simulated flooding, the expected flood volume would reach around 5 meters with an estimated flood volume of 3,840 cubic meters. So basically, these are our problems. Nawala. Okay, so as we can see here, we have hydraulic analysis of the existing condition. So as we can see, sorry for being too technical, but I'll try to explain it through basic. Hopefully, I'll be able to explain it in a most basic form. So basically, we have several data here. The graph, the measurements on the left pertains to elevations, and the stations on the horizontal graph. Um, it appears here that the elevation of the road is around 22 meters in elevation, and in certain instances, the volume of water is not anymore accommodated by stations. There are recorded water levels on top of the road. So basically, that's the recording that we are doing, we did and we are doing in order to fully understand the flooding in the area. So this is based on the 25-year rainfall return period for the existing 42 inches diameter of reinforced concrete pipe. So this is another data that we are gathering and observing, and based on the graph, several average intensity per type of rain incident. For example, in Ondoy type scenario, the average intensity would be around 121 millimeters per hour. So for Carina type, it will be around almost 70 millimeter per hour. Ulysses type is almost 50. And 2025 Habagat it reached, for a 12-hour period, it reached almost 28 millimeters per hour. And for a heavy rainfall, that is not covered by the other instances, we are observing almost 16 millimeter per hour average intensity for a cycle of 24 hours. So this is the, well, based on investigation, this is the actual condition of the substructure of the area. In Maria Clara Street, we have a box culvert of a cross section of 1.8 meters by 1.6 meters. We have two existing reinforced concrete pipes with 42 diameters, and we have an excavated utilities for telecommunications. Now, what we observe there is that there is a space between the utility facilities, the pipes, and the concrete pipes. So we plan to work on that available space in order for it to be used as detention for the flood water. Next. So after doing the investigation, we conducted no, not after, but rather parallel to the investigation, the site investigation, we did survey of the road and found out that in Station 0, there is a natural ponding of water because the middle of the road has the lowest elevation. So we consider this, and we will be rectifying the elevation of the road in order for us to have an efficient flow of the drainage water. Next. So as we move on the engineering study of the solution, we also conducted social legal public information drive and consultation with barangay and residents last November 29, 2025. This will ensure us that all of the aspects of the projects are well explained to the public, and in case of issues or questions, of course, residents, there are not more often than not, there are also engineers and technical people in the community. That is why we find it very important for us to always explain to the public what our projects will be, so that they can also contribute, at the same time be aware of any incident or any precautionary measures that they need to take during the implementation of the project. So here it is. So as we verified on site that there is an available space in the substructure that can be a substructure of the flood mitigation measure, we proposed a concrete box culvert that will serve as detention basin along Maria Clara Street from Don Pepe Street to Araneta Avenue in, of course, Barangay Santo Domingo in District 1. What are the basic description of the substructure? It has a cross section of 5 meters by 2 meters detention basin, and it will add it will increase the drainage capacity of the area by the amount of 640 cubic meters. Well, does it absolutely solve the problem? No, it will not absolutely solve the problem, but it will cover up to more than 60% of the actual flood volume in the area, and around 25% of the estimated drainage master plan flood volume. So what does it mean? It means that it will allow us, the citizens, to prepare if there is a really imminent flooding or heavy rainfall, or ondoy type of rain incident. The community will now have the capacity to prepare longer. They will be given more time to prepare and to evacuate, perhaps. And at the same time, if there are rain instances that are not so severe, there will be a mitigated flooding in the area. For example, if the rain incident normally produces waist deep flooding, now we hope that because of this initiative, and we intend to maintain it properly, that waist deep will now become gutter deep. So going back, this is just one of the examples that we are doing. We propose a box culvert. If you can observe along G Araneta Avenue, there is I think it has been completed already, the pipe laying of HDPE pipe along Araneta Avenue by the Department of Public Works and Highways. Actually, that project came from us. It was a product of hydraulic simulation done by the Quezon City government, and we gave it to them. And we are actually giving studies to them for the proposed projects. And we're very happy that they are able to pick up and implement one of the projects that we recommended along Araneta Avenue. And I think they will still continue based on our recommendations to extend further the HDPE pipe laying on the road or on the area. So here, which is just an illustration of what we will be doing, and we hope to finish it soon. There will be closure of roads so that we can work faster, and at the same time we are directly coordinating with the communities and the barangay in order for us to implement it efficiently and speedily. So after hopefully after we finish the project, this is the result that we're hoping. So basically, the proposed drainage system is sufficient to contain rainfall intensities greater than the 25-year rainfall return period, or equivalent to 12 hours of red rainfall. So meaning to say, if there is a similar rain incident such as this for a period of 12 hours, less than 30 millimeters of rain, we're confident that that area will not be anymore flooded. So as we can see now, the way we plan, the way we think of projects is not it's not simple actually. Well, we do consider a lot of things. We do study a lot of parameters before before we conclude, or before we propose a project. Why? Because we are very mindful that every peso that we use came actually from the Q citizens, and we ensure everybody that we are using all of these resources to the best of our abilities. So we now go to the. Do we have time? Still okay. We now go to the Drainage Master Plan accomplishment from 2019 to 2020. Actually, it's 2023 up to present. So far, we've completed these activities. For the drainage capacity, we've improved up to 30.6 thousand cubic meters of drainage capacity. So, and in addition thereto, we restored almost 100,000 cubic meters of existing drainage capacity. So through declogging of drainage water systems and dredging of waterways. So in total, so far, we are on almost 130,000 cubic meters of additional drainage capacity. So for the constructed drainage capacities, these are, of course, some of the projects we already have completed. We did some improvement of the drainage systems. Again, for West Avenue, we also have this Valiant Street drainage and detention basin. Actually the Valiant Street drainage and detention basin solved the flooding in Commonwealth Avenue. For those who reside or know the Commonwealth Avenue Fairview area in front of Pearl Drive, if you know that area, you know it to be flood prone. And in fact, one of the pictures taken there was a flood level right, I think, on the at the middle of the bus. Its elevation is more or less the middle of or at the middle of the elevation of the bus. So it means to say that it reached somehow at least or I think 2 meters height, 2 meters high. The flood was almost 2 meters high. So what we did was to what we did because to construct a detention basin, drainage improvement, and a water tank in Valiant Street just across Pearl Drive. And where well, I think the solution is doing well so far. Last year, even during the heaviest of rains, while we still experience flooding on other areas, we did not so far experience flooding in this particular area in Commonwealth Avenue in front of Pearl Drive. So hopefully, the solution will be absolute in this area. But again, we're still observing. It depends upon the amount of rainfall and runoff that we will be experiencing. So the next picture is it's a detention basin in Palmera and Pulyat. Same principle. We constructed detention basins on below covered courts. So detention basins below and covered basketball courts on top, so that we can maximize the area of the government property. So the next picture is a detention basin in this is along Araneta Avenue in Barangay Santo Domingo. This is across District 4 or Barangay Tatalon, the flood prone area as we've discussed earlier. And the last picture is the retention pond in Quezon Memorial Circle, as explained earlier. So this one is as somehow I've explained earlier. This is the situation in West Avenue. Again, we do not, when we do projects, we just don't list projects. We actually study first carefully what is the existing condition, what are the existing circumstances, and what will be the proposed solution. And in this case, there were actual complaints rather of flooding in Barangay Philam, and then we did not jump into excavation right away. What we did was to review the drainage master plan. We evaluated the result of the hydraulic simulations and hydrologic simulations. We found out that the flooded area is not because of it being adjacent to a creek, but rather that particular road there, shaded in pink, is lower than the green line there, which is the West Avenue drainage system. So as we can see here, the general drainage design of our city or the entire country, I think, would be that the main outfall, if there is no river or waterway yet, the main outfall will be the main road. So from the inner roads, drainage water or runoff will go to the main roads. And in this case, supposed to be the drainage water of Philam should go to West Avenue. Unfortunately, it is not really working. Why? Because based on the investigation we did, the elevation of the drainage, the West Avenue drainage system is actually higher than the elevation of the Philam Road. That's why there is flooding in the area. So here we can see that the drainage pipe size is 60 inches diameter reinforced concrete pipe with a drainage capacity of 1,000 cubic meters. Next. So what is our solution? since we cannot excavate the Philam subdivision because it's a privately owned and the roads there are private as well. What we did is to prepare the West Avenue to be able to accept the drainage water coming from the Philam home. So therefore, we somehow utilize the concept of sewer line design, whereby the elevation of the line depends upon the elevation of the source and the elevation of the outfall. Here we can see that it runs contrary to the usual drainage design, whereby the elevation of the pipe is almost on the same level as the elevation of the road or the curb and gutter. Here, the elevation of the drainage system is so much deeper than the elevation of the road, reaching, I think, up to more than 6 meters deep. So here's another technical data we had. We accomplished and we studied before we implemented the project. So we compare the elevations of the road and the elevations of the creek and the river system, and we there, as you can see, the green line there at the bottom of around 47 meters in elevation. That is based on the study, that should be the elevation of the drainage line along West Avenue in order for it to accommodate the drainage water from Philam homes. So it's the concept is somehow basic. It's just a matter of having the drainage master plan, because without which we cannot actually conclude that this will be the solution. Next. So as you can see, there are two videos there. On the left was the actual flooding before the project, and on the right is the actual video of after we did the project. So as you can see, before there was flooding, and after which, even during rainfall, heavy rainfalls, there are no more floodings. It's mitigated. As we can observe here, the flow of water on the left is very slow. Why? Because the drainage system, the outfall, actually the outfall that should accommodate this flood water is inefficient. On the right, the flow of water is fast because we changed the elevation of the drainage system along West Avenue. Hence, it was able to accommodate the runoff and drainage water from the subdivision. Next. So another example, do you still have time? I'll just do it fast. This one is the Pearl Drive incident that I have explained earlier. So as we can see here, there is a flooded area in Pearl Drive on the top left of the picture, and then that's the problem, and the outfall is on the green line. Next. So what we did is we constructed a water tank that would actually increase the capacity of this creek right here. So aside from the capacity of the creek, in addition thereto, the capacity of the detention basin or the water tank actually augmented the capacity of the water systems in order to accommodate the imminent flooding in the Pearl Drive. Next. So this is the current situation now. Before, there is no collecting tank, as you can see on the left. So we constructed a water collecting tank in order for the water from Pearl Drive or the creek adjacent to Pearl Drive, so that it can have additional volume. Hence, the water will not go on top of the road. So all of this are run by gravity. As you can see, there are no pumps installed. Why? Because we do not really recommend installation of pumps when we are talking about flood mitigation in Quezon City. Why? Because we are not a coastal area, and what we need is additional spaces for detention, and not really to control the flow of water. So here, it naturally flows by virtue of gravity. Next. So what is the result? As here, as clearly depicted in the screen, on the left, this was the viral photo taken during the Karina incident in 2024, I think. And right after the completion of the project, even in the most on the heaviest rain incidents, where thank God that there is no similar flooding incident which occurred. So on the next project is it's a detention basin on underneath a basketball court. There are several locations, but I will just mention one. I think it's in Palmera Homes, and still in District 5. The detention capacity is 1,700 cubic meters with additional rainwater harvesting capacity of 3,800 liters. Next. So this is the conceptual design of the project. We have a basketball court on top and a detention basin underneath. Why did we arrive with this? Of course, with the help of our Parks Development and Administration Department and the City Architect Department. And of course the Infrastructure Committee of the city. We always try to optimize government resources, not only in terms of funds, but also, which includes also, but also rather, lands, utilization of government lands. As we can see, the value of land in Quezon City is, well, extremely high. That's why we are trying to optimize the utilization of such. And in this very instance, we are able to hit two birds with one stone. We are able to construct a facility for the community, for the sports activities and other events as well. But at the same time, we're trying to mitigate the flooding in the area. Next. So this is just a representation of the concept of the project. So we have there, the project is located on a flood-prone area. As you can see, the hatch there, the violet and the purple and the hatched area there, it means that the area is flood prone. There you go. And Tulyahan River, and it will naturally come out when the level of Tulyahan River will be normal again. Again, as much as possible, we work on non-pump systems. We just use gravity so that it will be minimal in terms of operations and maintenance as well. So here's on the left is the actual drone photo before construction. As you can see here, there's the picture there. Sorry for that. We would like to request Prof. Jed to improve our internet system, sir. Right. So we have here on the left is the
Sir, we're
actual.
fixing it.
Yeah, I hope it's working now. Yeah, is it working?
Yes, sir. We can hear you po.
Thank you. Sorry for that. So we have here the actual drone photo after the completion, and we can see here that the location of the project is actually situated just adjacent to the Tulyahan River. There on the right picture, you can see where's the outfall of the drainage of the project, of the detention basin rather. We also did some markings of the water level so that when we operate the gates, it will depend upon the elevation or water level. So here is it now. Mayor Joy already cut the ribbon for this project, and the community is already enjoying the facility, the basketball court, and the multipurpose hall. And at the same time, somehow actually it even before construction, even during construction, before the completion of the project, the detention basin already worked, and based on the community, the feedback of the neighborhood, they're able to observe that somehow the flooding in the area has been mitigated. So these are the pictures. On the left one is the detention basin, the substructure that we constructed. It has a capacity of 1,700 cubic meters. On the right is just a small tank, but the purpose of which is to collect water that will be used by the water closets of the comfort rooms in the facility. Again, green engineering, green infrastructure will always be a consideration for all of our projects. Next. Another project will be the detention basin in G. Aranate Avenue in Barangay Santo Domingo. Again, I've explained it earlier already. It's a detention basin with a cross dimension of 5 meters by 2 meters and with a detention capacity of 2,500 cubic meters. So this is the conceptual plan of the design. Basically, we'll just store water, and we will be constructing flap gates in order to avoid backflow, and hopefully this amount of this capacity of the detention basin will significantly mitigate the flooding in the area. So here's it now. We're doing our full swing of construction in order to beat the rain season deadline. I think we are on track, and we are closely coordinating as well with the San Miguel Corporation, who owns the Skyway. So next project will be the retention pond in Quezon Memorial Circle. It is actually a part of the park. It has green. It's green. It's a green area or green open space, but again, it's also a flood mitigation effort. We are collecting runoff from the park. At the same time, there is a collecting tank that will hopefully collect the possible flooding in Elliptical Road. So here is the progress photo. We're on our completion stage already. And basically, we converted QMC from the old, from its original state of being a concrete park now to green and open park. So this is just a drone shot of the project. So other efforts as well include maintenance works, the drainage and declogging works, and river dredging. And for for our regular maintenance works, so far we have declogged almost 94,000 cubic meters, and which is equivalent to almost 200 or 180 kilometers of road. So here we are using equipment such as a sewer jet. Sewer jets are we have several of those that are regularly working to ensure that the drainage systems are properly maintained. But again, it's not only maintenance that causes flooding, it's primarily because of the amount of volume that we are dealing with and the capacity so far of the detentions that we have. Again, it's not only in project management that we are using the drainage master plan, we're also using it on our day-to-day operations for maintenance works and asset management works. We actually initiated the river dredging even before San Miguel Corporation did it, and MMDA, we already commenced the same along San Francisco River. That's it. Thank you very much and have a great day. Yun, no? Well, I will explain, no, not only for flood control or flood mitigation projects. Quezon City government has institutionalized the termination of infrastructure projects since the start of Mayor Joy's term, no? And because of that, we are able to formulate the infrastructure committee. The infrastructure committee is chaired by the city administrator and me. And bago dumating sa infrastructure committee ang any proposal, manggagaling yan sa source. The sources are several sources. It may be barangay official, it may be homeowners association, it may be any resident, and it may be a specific complaint. And then it will be elevated to the action officer. The action officer serves as a little mayor of the district. I-consolidate nila yan and then they will prioritize and then i-elevate pa ulit to the departments. So the departments, the end users, no, including Prof. Jed, the city architect department, the parks development department, and even the climate change department. So everybody will be working on it and prioritizing the same. Tapos, it will be deliberated in the infrastructure committee before it will be presented to the mayor for approval. So yung inexplain ko ay para sa lahat ng infrastructure project. Now, when it comes to flood mitigation and flood control, medyo mas maingat kami dyan. Unlike DPWH na meron na kagad list of projects, pagdating sa flood control kasi, aside doon sa inexplain ko kanina, may isa pang platform kami tinitingnan, which is the drainage master plan. So aside doon sa level of the process that I mentioned earlier, kapag flood control ang pinag-uusapan, meron pang isang framework na ginagamit or study, which is the drainage master plan. Ang katuwang naman namin dyan, ang UP Resilience Institute. So yun, ganun ka-complex yung ating proseso. Marion, actually ito yung problema namin, no? So the first part of your question is how does the QC Drainage Master Plan align with the national? Ang problema kasi natin, Marion, yung national wala eh. So nauna kaming gumawa sa NCR and then after we did it, well, meron ng Project NOAA before, pero hindi kasi siya na-enhance na maging master plan ng NCR. So, well, when Mayor Joy started, yan yung talagang thrust ni Mayor, no, to pag-aralan muna natin bakit ba talaga bumabaha. Kaya talagang hiningi natin yung tulong ng UP Resilience Institute. And after we did it, and siguro naman napansin ng Metro Manila in general na, parang bakit si Quezon City may ganun. Saka pa lang sila nag-start. So, in fairness, si MMDA is starting right now. Katulong din nila ang UPRI and in fact meron na silang proposed, so yung mga present ko kaninang types of projects, may mga proposal na rin si MMDA to that effect and we are working closely with them and insofar as doing nature-based solutions, aside doon sa retention pond na pinakita ko kanina, basically ang tinitingnan natin dito yung sponge city. So yung kung narinig nyo na yung sponge city, no, instead of concrete, butasin natin yung concrete, gawin natin mga lupa so that magkaroon ng permeability yung land, yung soil. So ginagawa natin yan. In fact, there is a specific activity kaming ginawa recently. Nandito to sa District 2 sa kasi binabaha yung East Fairview at saka Doña Carmen Subdivision. So inaral namin ulit yung drainage master plan, yung ni-review namin yung hydraulic and hydrologic analysis. Napansin namin na teka lang, but parang it appears na dating creek yung area. So hindi kami sigurado kasi ngayon ano na siya vacant lots, then roads. So pero parang it appears na based doon sa study, para siyang waterways, no? So ang ginawa namin, we sought the permission of the homeowners association ng Doña Carmen subdivision, and we started excavating, and we found out nga na siguro after we dug ng 3 meters deep, existing pipe. So just imagine may vacant lot sa subdivision, buti na lang wala pang bahay. So tingin namin doon yung location ng waterway. So hinukay namin. So pag hukay namin, nakita namin may tosang, merong pipe. So what is that indication? Ibig sabihin, hindi talaga yan drainage line before. It's actually a creek. So because of the developments throughout the years, naging kalsada siya, naging subdivided lot siya, and unfortunately, tinabunan yung creek. So ano yung susunod naming hakbang? Legal na. So the first question there is, how come that na-decommission yung creek? Public in nature yan eh. It's property it's a property by public, no? It's hindi siya dapat decommission. In fact, the water code prohibits obstruction along waterway. So bakit ito na decommission siya in effect? So in fairness naman to the communities, they are supportive, and initially I think they issued na, or they will issue a resolution reviving the creek. So yun yung mga ganung initiatives, yung nature-based solution. Engineering siya. We used engineering principles. We applied engineering technology, but the approach is not really infrastructure. The approach is restoration of or nature-based solution restoration.